Cool. All right, so we're here back with another interview today, and this time I got Marlin.
Hey.
All right, cool.
Hi.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know Marlin, he's I guess you wanna tell him like what you do?
Yeah, sure. I'm an actor. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a influencer. What else am I? I'm an artist.
Oh.
I'm Cambodian, and yeah. I mean, I love to cook too. So we'll get to all that later. But yes, that's me. So I make videos. I act, and I just create.
Yeah. So as you can see, Marlin's very multi-talented. But today in today's interview, pretty much like when people ask or meet you, like who is Marlin to you? You know, like who is Marlin? If you can explain that.
I guess it depends. Like, oh wait, when people meet me,
Or like if someone were to ask you, like, who is Marlin? Like,
who's Marlon?
yeah, you know.
I guess if like I was like, who is Marlon? Someone like someone else was describing me to someone else.
How would you? Oh, I guess.
How would I want
Yeah.
someone to describe me to someone else?
Not how they would want you, but like how would you describe yourself?
How would I describe myself? As like some guys like, oh, who's this Marlon guy? I'm like telling him.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'd be like, oh, like this guy, he's pretty dope. He likes to make videos and he likes to cook and he has big hair and what else? What else would I say about him? And he's really passionate and he can like outwork anybody.
Oh.
If it comes to like a challenge, yeah, he's very competitive in that way. I would say that, yeah.
You feel like you've always run up with that competitive edge too?
Not outwardly, but yeah. But before, I'm trying to be more out loud about it now. But before it used to be like pretty like secretive, like just more so like with everyone, not just with everyone, but just since I was little, when you're Asian, you're like shorter than everybody, like especially in like basketball and stuff. Like so,
Yeah.
like, I would like
Yeah.
sit at home and practice basketball by myself and stuff because I was always the smallest one, so I practiced more and got better, and yeah, all that.
But that's good. I feel like I resonate with that because I would play basketball too, and I was always the shortest one. And I feel like working hard, like knowing you have to work harder, has always helped. Do you feel like that translated into what you do now in your life?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, in acting and in being an influencer on the internet, when you're in the media, it's a very like, I guess, shallow world, you know? So it makes you think a lot about how there are beautiful people on there, and there's always going to be someone that's prettier than you, and always going to be someone that's like more this than you or more that. If the harder you can work on yourself and be smarter, in your own way or be better at something, you'll have an advantage. You can't just rely on your looks and stuff, and I feel like that's what a lot of people try to do, especially on Instagram and stuff. They just rely on one thing and they don't work at it. For me, I never thought, I don't think I'm that great looking, so I just like work really hard because like with work, people always talk about like, we want girls and we want like cars and we want all this stuff. If you work hard, you can have all that, but like you have to work hard first and you can have all that stuff like that comes with it. No matter what, yeah.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about like what it is you do for work and like what you've been doing lately?
Oh, okay. So what I'm doing right now, this is December. Sorry if you guys can hear my roommates. It's December 8th, 9th?
One of those two. Yeah,
just check.
one of those two.
It is December 9th, 2019. What I'm currently doing right now is, so I right now own my own production company where we produce videos for my main channel, MarMar, that has over 3.4 million subscribers and 700 million views total on it, over, I don't know, 8 million monthly views or something like that. That's one of my channels. And then currently I'm also the creative director at a studio in Culver City where I've partnered with another studio to make an amazing kids show, because it's been my dream to make an amazing kids show that's like almost like a morning kids show that I used to wake up and watch, or a kid show I used to watch before going to school, ever since I became an uncle. So I think 3 or 4 years ago I became an uncle, and that's why I started working hard on my YouTube so I can make videos for her. But then I realized like a lot of those videos are just really cool, but they're not really educational. And a lot of the stuff coming out on YouTube at the time, like even the past 2 years from now, there hasn't been anyone that's helping like kind of teach the kids, the younger kids, not that they need to be taught, but that to show them, like life skills, simple life skills that like show them how to do something, like putting away their clothes, like simple things like that, not just like you know, showing bodies in Japan. I don't know if we can put that in there, but like
No, you could, yeah.
doing bad things like that. But like I just wanted to make someone that was a good example for the kids, other than my other persona on my main channel, which I don't know is the best example for kids because it's like really fun and entertaining, but it doesn't really have any actual educational value. So that's why on MarMar Land there's a lot of like emotional intelligence. So you learn about like being friends with someone and like how to be kind and being selfless and giving, and a lot of things that I don't know, I hope my kids will learn. So that's what I'm really making right now, and I'm also auditioning throughout the week, and so I'm an actor too. So I've been studying professionally as an actor for 5 years. I currently live with a bunch of actors just because that's like one of my favorite things to do is modeling. So I like study people on a micro and macro level. I just live with them, like, because I could live by myself easily, but I want to live with them to see like, okay, like what makes them tick, what probably why you're watching this, to see like, you know, what's inside Marlin's head. That's, I'm just being honest with you, that's what's in my head. Like, and besides they're really cool guys too, like I love living with my roommates, but I think one of the quickest ways to be good at something is to literally just like breathe it. And watching these guys who are acting in big Hollywood movies and shows, like watching how they work, I would never get that in a school. Like, it's way different living with them and seeing what they actually do to make it happen. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Just being an actor, influencer, creative director, and CEO of my company.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome because I feel like not a lot of people touch base with, like how you said you have a niece, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people touch base, and that was cool how you were honest, how you were like, I do stuff that's fun on my YouTube. I do stuff, but it's not educational. Like, it's not teaching them the right stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like not a lot of people gravitate towards that route.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen, which is really awesome because like I'm into that. Like, I really love that. Like,
Cool.
like, cause I just had a niece too.
Oh really?
And
congratulations.
yeah, I mean, same for you, man.
Thank
But
you.
I feel like I understand, like, once you see someone like that, it's like, it's cool having fun entertainment, but it's like you also want to teach them, like, the right things to do in life and, like, just be educational. Because did you ever grow up watching Nickelodeon as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and, like, waking up every morning to, like, see
Exactly,
the, like,
yeah.
to see the show and, like,
Yeah.
just being...
Yeah, and when I say educational, I don't mean like completely like A, B, C, like 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, like adding and stuff. I want it to be just like, I call it the ravioli method. Like,
Ooh.
you sneak in some stuff into the ravioli, right? You sneak like vegetables or something in there. So I want to make it really fun and crazy, but also they might learn something at the end of the show. Like, that's all I want, you know, to accomplish. Like, whether like in MarMar Land, I take a door and it leads me to a science museum, and then we do an experiment. Like, that's still crazy. I can blow something up, but you still learn about like why that happens and stuff. So
Yeah. I recently started watching Pixar movies all over again. I don't know if you ever watched Pixar.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I was watching Ratatouille, and like, it's crazy how like now that I'm grown up, I finally realize the messages behind everything that Pixar does, and like they always convey some type of like
lesson or
like some lesson.
that's like deeper than just the cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like you can be really good at that.
I want to
like,
do that. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely still, you know, I'm young. I'm still learning how to do that, and I would love to do that. I hope people can look back at Marlin and be like, oh, like that's like really cool how he somehow snuck that in there. Yeah.
So, do you have any goals for like this upcoming year that you can do for yourself?
For me, or what do you mean by like for myself?
Like for you and your channel, and like everything that you're doing, you know? Like,
Okay.
Like, what is like one of your main goals that you want this upcoming 2020?
So this year I've spent in 2019 really focusing and being the creative director of MarMar Land, and I have posted only like 2 videos a week for MarMar. So one of my biggest goals is to really grow MarMar again and really focus on the community there, because I have an amazing community there, but it's just been kind of splintered because I have to like spread yourself out so much. So this next year I want to be able to, like, since I've already like created the whole Bible for MarMar Land and that should be like running smoother, I want to like refocus more on MarMar again, and like either, I don't know, the audience might be a little different there too, but like I'm excited. That's what's getting me kind of excited to be like, oh, okay, like what's this new world, especially with Copa and stuff. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, so I want to see like what's the new world of audience I can grow on there, or maybe even starting a new channel. But like honestly, my goal would be like 5 million subscribers. Right now I'm at 3.4. So what is that? I need an extra
2.6. Yeah.
2.6
Or 1.6, somewhere around
1.6.
Yeah, 1.6.
I think it's 1.6.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's
Yeah, it's 1.6. Yeah, 1.6.
So if I could hit 5 million 2020, that'd be amazing. And just blow up MarMar. I want an Emmy for MarMar. I don't know if that's gonna happen next year, but like an Emmy award, because if it's gonna be like we're making Marlin TV quality no matter what. So whatever channel it ends up being on, I hope it can get into the Emmy Awards and like get considered for an Emmy. Like that's a big goal for mine, and that's why we work so hard on that. I mean, there's like amazing people working on Marlin. It's nuts.
All right,
It's
remember
insane.
this. When he wins the Emmy, I was first to record this. But one thing I've always wondered is like, if you want to, this is like just stuff that I've noticed or that I've read, and like just like when you see someone great,
Mhm.
what do you think about someone like people who are amazing are always skilled on just one thing?
Mhm.
How do you do it to balance everything that you do
Mhm.
and still be amazing at it?
Mm.
Like juggling, acting, modeling, and then having your TV show and Marlin and your YouTube channel. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
how do you do it to excel in all that, or like what are your thoughts on
I
that?
think in the beginning stages, I think it's very like when you're first starting out, like you gotta really choose a lane. You
Okay.
really have to. I think even in mine, I'm still learning for sure. But like I would say from experience, you definitely have to go hard in one thing. Like the reason I got to do Marlin and I get to be an actor is because of my focus on my YouTube. Does that make sense? So like because I focused on my YouTube, it gave me not only financial freedom to do whatever I wanted. I literally can go to Japan right now, like if you want to, you know what I mean? And like that's an amazing thing to have. Free money is just freedom. It's not really anything else. Once you get to a certain level of money, right? It's just freedom because you have time now. Like, oh no, you don't have time. You have time being young, but like with money, you have all this freedom to do actually what you want to do. And so like because I focused on my main channel first and I grew that out, then I can actually like I could leverage that to like make my own show, my own kid show, something I dreamed of doing, or acting better because I could use that money to pay for my acting classes. I can use the numbers to show like for when people are trying to decide between me and another guy, they're like, oh, we really like these two guys. My reps will be like, oh, this guy has 3 million subscribers, and it like puts you ahead of the game, right? So depending that's good that you asked me about what do I want for 2020, and since I'm refocusing more on MarMar, it's just gonna make that foundation even stronger and make everything else even stronger. So I would like my advice for anybody starting out is like really just focus on one thing, be really good at that because that's gonna be your key to it all. Because if you keep doing like putting like a bunch of different eggs in different baskets, it's gonna get you're not gonna be strong in any of them, and it's gonna show for sure. Like and because we as humans are so strong, like when we get emotional behind something and get really passionate about it, like we will like when you execute and you like make yourself proud, you'll do so good that like that one thing is gonna really carry you, you know. And that's why like I mean if you look at like basketball players like Shaq, like he was an NBA player, and then he leveraged that, right? So he took all that money and invested it. Like he invested in himself, like always invest in yourself. So then he went to school, finished his school, and then like invested all that into like different places like Auntie Anne's and like Krispy Kreme donuts. But like imagine if Shaq was trying to do that, like go to school while playing basketball and like doing all like it's tough, you know. So but he focused and he became like notorious for basketball, got really good at that, and then used it in all the other places. Yeah. I mean that's for sure. Like I had to learn this lesson straightforward because, and that's why I haven't been studying my acting class recently. Is because I want to be able to just like actually commit to something and focus on it. You know, because I was studying for 5 years in an acting class. I was like half in acting and half in YouTube, and they're two different worlds. And I always thought I can like really bring them into one, but it's really hard to. Until like now I'm getting closer to that level where I can. Now that I'm like actually living with actors and studying actor and all the knowledge I have from my acting class, like you just grow so much faster when you focus on one thing, right? So when I was like split like that, I was just growing slower. Like you just it just like I wish I could just put a diagram for you guys, but if you're like in one focus, that's what it is. It's a laser. If you're a laser, you burn through like the metal like so quick. But if you're like a flashlight, you're just like heating it up, right? And like it's fine. Like for me, I definitely did it, and I heated up the metal for sure. But imagine if I was just the laser, like, and then like you would just go right through the metal, and you'd be like to the next level, to the next level. You just have to be patient. It's a lot of like patience, you know.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things that like I feel like my generation growing up, patience is one of the hardest things we were trying to learn.
Yeah.
I
mean, because everything's instant now, right? Amazon's instant. Ramen's instant, technology.
Yeah, answers just Google it.
Your views and likes are instant. So that's definitely something that you have to learn is like discipline and patience.
So how much discipline do you feel like you had to have to get where you are right now?
Oh, a lot. Like I mean, recently, even now, I still had to have like, if I'm being like open on here, this is the first interview of my Emmy interview. No, like even recently, like now, like I have to like tell my girlfriend like, hey, like I can't see you this many days because I'm on a mission. Like this is like you're my, I care about you and I love you so much, but I'm gonna work hard because I want to be able to give you everything you want. And she has to understand that, and it's definitely a hard thing because it's kind of like, it's hard to explain that to someone you care to because it sounds like they're annoying you or they're hurting you and they're like slowing you down, but it's not that at all. Like I love you so much, but hey, I need to take care of this. I need to, that's a big sacrifice even for me, you know? Like you have to be able to discipline yourself to say that, because that's like, of course you want to go hang out with them. It's a person, like it's your best friend. You want to like hang out with them. You want to be with them. You want to see them all the time, but that's not going to get you anywhere in what you really actually want to do. And if you really care about them, that means you would look at the actual, like the actual steps to being really successful or creating something that they'll be proud of. They might not know it now, like they might just like be really mad because you can't hang out with them every day, but like later on when you're on your yacht or like in a private jet, like they'll understand. Like trust me, they're gonna understand. And that really goes a lot with like, even to my parents. Like I told Jose before we even started that like I had to even like tell my parents a white lie when I first moved here because they wouldn't understand like that I was gonna come here and do YouTube. Like to them that's just such a foreign subject that there's no way they're gonna understand that. So I just have to, you know, for me it's kind of hard for me too because I don't like lying to my parents. If I have to tell them like, hey, like I just had to tell them like, hey, I'm gonna go to school, something they can't understand. I'm gonna go to school and do this. So they're like, oh, that makes sense. While like working really hard so that I can make this happen, so I don't look like an idiot when I don't graduate from school and have nothing to show too. So yeah, I think to answer the main question, how much discipline do you have to have, is like you have to be willing to sacrifice, you know, the parties. Everyone always talks about it, the parties and the hanging out with friends randomly. I think the hardest things are the little disciplines. So I tell this story a lot, but when I first wanted to be consistent on YouTube, I was looking for ways to be consistent, and it was really hard. It's one of the hardest things. If you don't love YouTube, it's really hard to be consistent on it. Like you have to love it, right? And I was in my acting class, and my friend, did I tell you this one already? I did, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I told you this one. They might get some info. But my friend got yelled at in my acting class. He was wearing like these like shoes, but he stepped on the backs of them, so they look like slippers. And he got yelled at so hard. And she was just like, Antonio, this is why you have no career. This is why you have no, you're not successful in any way. This is why your apartment only costs like $1,000 a month. Like this is why you live in a terrible place. All of it comes from your shoes. And I was so confused by that. I was like, what? Like his shoes? What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? And honestly, this is one of the biggest lessons that like really helped me change my YouTube life, just my life in general, my life. And I was like, what does shoes have to do with anything? In my head, everyone was thinking the same thing. But then she was like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you take that literally, like you would probably be successful just taking that literally. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you look at that in all aspects, right? So so how you do one thing, because let me explain that deeper. So because he was stepping on like the backs of his shoes to make his shoes like slippers, he was being very like casual about his shoes. He wasn't like taking the time to like tie his shoes, make it look nice, like put on a good outfit. And that just shows her, my teacher, who like has so much wisdom, that just because like he didn't even like care to like put his shoes on the right way and tie it, she could already tell that like how he does something else, probably how like when he goes home to eat, he just like leaves the dish in the dishwasher, probably, or like in the sink still, and like we'll halfway clean it, maybe leave it there, because you can just tell like that's the kind of person it is. It might not work for every single instant, but like your habits really bleed into who you are. And so that's why if you take that quote literally, how you do one thing is how you do everything, like I guarantee you there's like a 90% chance you won't fail at whatever you do if you take that quote literally, because you just do everything great, you know? Because if you do one thing great, you'll do the next thing great, and then you do that great, and you do that great, you know what I mean? And so I was like, okay, like I applied that to consistency. Like I was like, what's something like really small that I can be consistent at that will bleed into my other life, and I want it to bleed into it really badly, but it has to be really small and you can do it all the time, and it's like something you don't even think about. And it's actually something I picked, something kind of hard because most people don't even do this, but I picked flossing. So I was like, okay, if I can floss every day, I can post a video every day. They're two unrelated things, they don't make sense at all, but like they're both pretty hard for me, and flossing is a very tiny thing. And so for that year, I just committed to flossing and posting a video. And somehow I did it. And that was probably one of my best years on YouTube because I posted every single day. I got myself, like, no matter what, like, if I got home from school at 12 or working at 12, I made sure to edit until 6 and post and then floss right after. I remember sitting on my toilet flossing and, like, seeing the sun come up all the time. Like, that was a normal thing. Like, all the time. And I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I just kept doing it. And that's the craziest thing about, like, discipline and all of that is, like, you don't know if it's gonna work or not, but, like, everyone that's successful is telling you to do it, so you might as well just listen to them because they know better. Like, I don't know why they would lie to you. So yeah, I didn't know if it was gonna work either, and I was just trying it and doing it and flossing and trying to just really get that habit to really transfer over to the other one, and it worked.
And you feel like that's already like added up into your life, like everything you're doing now is just...
Oh yeah, it's like built on that. So like if you can take that aspect, then you can take the perspective of like how you do one thing's how you do everything. If you look at a lot of things, you can learn how to like remove stuff you don't want anymore, right?
Yeah.
So you can look at like, oh, like how come I did that? Like how come I half did that? Like I should never half do that thing that I was supposed to do because I might half do something I actually care about later.
Yeah.
So if you always hold yourself to that standard, it will be exhausting, but in the end, it's gonna, like, you're gonna come out so much stronger.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Well, we reached the 20-minute marker, but I'm telling you, if you want to just know more about Marlin, YouTube channel is MarMar, right?
Yeah.
MarMar, and then what else are you doing that they can find you on? Like...
You can look at MarMarland if that's out yet. Go to MarMarland. Just type in youtube.com/MarMarland or search MarMarland. If you have a kid, especially, you know, if you're a young parent out there, or if you are a kid, tell people to go watch MarMarland because I'm gonna win an Emmy.
There you go. But I'm telling you, like, Marlin is awesome. He's amazing. He's inspired me already, and it's just people like this that you want to just follow on every day that work for what they want, and it's awesome. You know, like you're living a dream that most people can't ever live.
Yeah, it's like, but I was sitting in your shoes maybe less than 3 years ago. You know, it's not that long of a time. It sounds long, but 3 years flies by quickly. Yeah, I mean, some people it's even quicker. You can make it happen in like a day.
Yeah, especially with trends nowadays, how they
Yeah.
just blow up.
Yeah, I mean that, but I mean that's the crazy part, right? So if you could blow up, but if you don't have the work ethic to back it up, you won't be able to keep it.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing. But yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back on another video.
Dope.
Later, guys.
Peace. Wait.